Right now, as you're watching this now, is in a monster storm is pounding Canada. Winds over 62 miles per hour, blizzard conditions, total whiteout. And if you think that's bad, what's coming next? Stay with me because at the 5-minute mark, I'll reveal the date when Arctic air hits hardest. But first, Newfoundland is under siege right now. Here's what's happening on the ground in Newfoundland at this exact moment. Paradise, Newfoundland, yes, that's the real name, was buried in snow last night. But here's the twist. It's not snow anymore. The storm strengthened so fast, it turned everything to freezing rain. Radar is showing heavy rain hammering the Avalon Peninsula right now. But western Newfoundland, that's a different nightmare. They're getting absolutely pummeled by what forecasters are calling significant snowfall. We're talking 6 to 20 inches in some communities. Cape Breton is getting hit just as hard. And the wind? That's where this gets dangerous. Wind gusts are exceeding 62 mph all along the coast. That's hurricane-force territory with heavy snow. The result? Complete blizzard conditions. You cannot see 10 ft in front of you. Marine Atlantic. The ferry service completely shut down today. Schools across the region closed. And here's what everyone's worried about. Power outages are expected. Could be widespread. Thousands could be sitting in the dark in below freezing temperatures. And remember, I promised you something shocking. At the 5-minute mark, keep watching. Now let me take you to Ontario because what happened there in 72 hours is insane. Picture this. Friday afternoon, people in southern Ontario were setting records. Record warmth. Temperatures so high you could wear a t-shirt in January. Then the winds came 37 to 56 miles per hour winds. Trees down, power lines snapping, chaos in the streets. But here's the crazy part. By Saturday, everything flipped between Ottawa and Quebec City. 4 to 6 inches of snow fell overnight. Sunday, even colder. Blustery, brutal wind chills. Someone actually filmed themselves fishing in the upper Niagara River in a snowstorm in January after record warmth 48 hours earlier. The question everyone's asking, what's happening next? And trust me, you need to hear this because it affects every single person watching. That January thaw, that beautiful mild weather, it's over. Completely done right now. Today, Monday, light flurries are hitting Ottawa and Montreal, central Ontario. Nothing major yet, but that changes fast. Tomorrow, Tuesday, here comes another system. Rain and snow mix across the region. So, Tuesday will still feel relatively mild. Don't let that fool you because what follows on Wednesday is what I call the drop. Lake effect snow kicks in behind that system, and the temperatures, Thunder Bay drops to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's minus Tyson Cat 2 Celsius. Southern Ontario stays mild Wednesday morning, but watch what happens Wednesday afternoon. A cold front slices through. Temperatures collapse. I mean collapse. Thursday morning across Ontario and Quebec. Double-digit negatives in Fahrenheit. We're talking 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit across the south, minus 20 seconds in the north. One meteorologist described it as temperatures plummeting like a Led Zeppelin. And here's something most people don't realize. We're getting multiple blasts of Arctic air. This isn't one cold snap. This is wave after wave after wave. Several clipper systems are forecast to bring 2 to 6 inches of snow to parts of the Greater Toronto Area this week, even more in the snowbelts. Don't miss what I'm about to show you about the prairies. It's completely unexpected. But first, the West Coast. And this is where things get really interesting. British Columbia is getting absolutely hammered by something called a pineapple express. No, that's not a tropical drink. It's a weather phenomenon. Warm, moisture-laden air flowing directly from Hawaii to Canada. The result, torrential rain. And I mean torrential. Today and tonight are the critical periods. Heavy rain continuing from the weekend. Metro Vancouver, expect 3 to 4 inches of rain. You're in a rainforest now. North Shore Mountains around Vancouver, even worse, potentially 4 in. West Vancouver Island, they could see even more than that. But here's the dangerous part that emergency officials are watching after the freezing level is rising rapidly over the next few days. What does that mean? Snow on the mountains is melting fast. Melting snow plus heavy rain equals potential flooding. River levels are being monitored closely. This is a developing situation. Once this system finally moves through and it will lift northward and weaken, you'd think things would clear up, right? Wrong. Here's the twist. Low-lying fog is expected to get trapped right at the surface across Metro Vancouver. So if you drive up to the mountains, it'll be beautiful sunshine. But down in the city, thick fog, reduced visibility, dangerous driving conditions. Now, here's what shocked me about the prairies. And this is the part I promised you. Right now, today, the prairies are experiencing some of the mildest weather in Canada. Partney, Manitoba, people are doing cold weather experiments with frozen bubbles. In Kelowna, mix of sun and cloud. Pleasant, almost spring-like. Lethbridge, Alberta, 57 degrees Fahrenheit today. That's 14 Celsius. Tomorrow, Tuesday, still double-digit temperatures across the region. You're thinking, great, winter's taking a break in the prairies. Not so fast. Remember how I said multiple shots of Arctic air are heading for Ontario and Quebec? Well, that same Arctic air has to come from somewhere, and it's building in the north right now. This is it. The 5-minute mark I told you about. Here's what's coming that will change everything. Next week, specifically mid to late next week, winter returns with a vengeance. Not just to one region, not just to Ontario, nearly coast to coast. We're talking about bitter cold from British Columbia all the way to Newfoundland. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. With specific numbers for major cities, Toronto, look at this temperature trend over the next 2 weeks. Not a single day reaches the freezing mark. Not one day gets to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Most days, 15 to 20 degree F. That's minus Keylance to minus hat Celsius. Thunder Bay and Northern Ontario even more extreme. Temperatures in the minus double digits for the next couple of weeks. We're talking near minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's minus who Celsius with wind chill. You're looking at minus to minus F. That's frostbite territory. Exposed skin can freeze in under 10 minutes. Montreal and Quebec City, same story. Prolonged deep freeze incoming. Now, here's what makes this pattern particularly dangerous. It's not just one Arctic blast that comes through, drops temperatures, and leaves. We're looking at multiple reinforcing shots of Arctic air over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Think of it like waves at a beach. One wave pulls back, another crashes in. That's what this pattern looks like. Cold, colder, brief warm-up, then even colder. The prairie provinces will feel it first, then it slides into Ontario and Quebec. But wait, there's something even more critical happening that most people don't understand. When you get these temperature swings from record warmth to bitter cold, that's when infrastructure starts to fail. Roads crack, water pipes burst, power grids get stressed because everyone cranks their heat at once. Emergency rooms see a spike in injuries, and like slips on ice, heart attacks from shoveling. This isn't just uncomfortable weather. This is the kind of pattern that has real consequences. Let me walk you through exactly what to expect. Day by day this week, step by step. Today, Monday, light snow in Ontario and Quebec. Storm continues in Newfoundland. Heavy rain on BC coast, mild in the prairies. This is the calm before the storm. Tuesday, a new system moves into Ontario and Quebec. Rain-snow mix. Still relatively mild. This is your last day of comfortable weather in eastern Canada. Enjoy it. Wednesday morning, still above freezing across southern Ontario. But don't be fooled. Wednesday afternoon the cold front arrives. Temperatures crash. Crash hard. You could go from 35 degrees Fahrenheit at noon to 15 degrees by dinner time. Lake effect snow kicks in behind the front. Snow squalls possible in the snow belts Thursday. This is when the real Arctic air arrives. Full force, no holding back. Morning temperatures in the single digits Fahrenheit across much of Ontario and Quebec. Wind chills could make it feel like minus to minus Fahrenheit in cities. Northern Ontario wind chills approaching minus Fahrenheit in some areas Friday and into the weekend. The cold persists, no relief. Another clipper system could bring more snow to the Great Lakes region. And here's something crucial I need to emphasize about this pattern. The ridge building over Western Canada is forcing all this Arctic air east. That ridge is like a wall pushing cold air into the Great Lakes, Ontario, and Quebec. And that ridge, it's going to stay locked in place for at least the next 10 to 14 days. That means this cold pattern isn't a quick hit. This is sustained. This is prolonged. By late next week, we're talking January 20th into the 21st. Here's the kicker. Some forecast models are showing another significant storm system. This one could bring heavy snow from the prairies through Ontario into Quebec. We're talking potentially 6 to 12 INs in major urban areas. Combine that with the bitter cold, and you've got dangerous travel conditions. Now, let me give you the information that could literally save your life this week. When temperatures drop this dramatically, this quickly, here's what you need to do. Step 1. Check your home heating system right now, today, before the cold hits. When everyone's furnace kicks on at once Thursday, HVAC repair companies will be overwhelmed. Step 2. Insulate exposed pipes, especially in unheated areas like garages. A burst pipe in minus 10-degree weather can cause thousands of dollars in damage. Step 3. Stock up on essentials today or tomorrow before Wednesday's storm. You don't want to be driving in a snow squall when temperatures are in the single digits. Step 4. If you have to go outside, when wind chills hit minus 20 or worse, cover all exposed skin. Wear layers. Frostbite can happen in under 10 minutes. Step 5. Keep your gas tank at least half full. If you get stuck, you need heat. Plus, gas lines can freeze when temperatures get this extreme. Here's something that really concerns emergency management officials. This kind of extreme cold combined with snow is when we see the most weather-related death. Car accidents on icy roads, people having heart attacks while shoveling, homeless populations at extreme risk, carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating. If you know someone elderly or vulnerable, check on them. Seriously, a quick phone call or visit could literally save a life this week. Now let's talk about what makes this particular weather pattern so unusual. Just last Friday, 4 days ago, southern Ontario hit record-breaking warmth. People were outside in t-shirts in January. Kids were playing in parks. By Thursday this week, those same people could be dealing with minus 10-degree temperatures. That's a temperature swing of potentially 50 to 60 degree Fahrenheit in less than a week. That is not normal. That is extreme. These wild swings are becoming more common, and they're harder to prepare for. Your body doesn't have time to acclimate. Your home's infrastructure gets stressed. And here's what's happening with the snow accumulation. Specifically, multiple clipper systems means multiple rounds of snow this week. You might wake up to 2 in of snow Tuesday, another 3 in Thursday, maybe 4 more inches Saturday. It adds up fast. Faster than you think. And when it's this cold, that snow doesn't melt. It just accumulates. By next weekend, some areas could have a foot of snow on the ground or more. The snow belts east of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron, they could see 2 to 3 feet. For British Columbia, once this Pineapple Express finally moves out later this week, there's good news. A ridge builds in. Drier, more stable weather returns. But that fog situation in Metro Vancouver could last for days, even into next week. If you're flying in or out of Vancouver later this week, expect delays. Here's what I want you to remember most from everything I've told you today. This is not a typical January cold snap. This is a pattern shift, multiple waves of Arctic air over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The January thaw is completely over. Winter is back, and it's here to stay for a while. The most critical day this week, Thursday. That's when the coldest air arrives. The most dangerous conditions Wednesday night into Thursday morning as the cold front passes. Temperature drops 20 to 30 degrees in hours. Roads ice over instantly. The worst travel conditions Thursday morning commute. Give yourself extra time or work from home. And here's your final critical piece of information for the week ahead. If you lose power during this cold blast, do not use generators or barbecues indoors. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills people every single winter during events like this. One more thing before we wrap up, and this affects next week significantly. Long-range models are showing another potential major storm around January 20th to 22. It's too early for specific, but the pattern supports significant snowfall. I'll be tracking this closely and have a full update for you in 48 hours. In that update, I'll reveal the exact track of that late-month storm system, which cities could see the most snow, and when we might finally see this pattern break. Plus, there's a developing situation in the Arctic that could affect February. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that critical forecast, because what's coming in late January could make this week look mild by comparison. Stay safe out there. Prepare now. And remember, this is not just cold weather. This is a pattern that demands respect and preparation.